everybody, Mike Bloody here with the School Self-Defense, and I'm continuing along our video series on how to do the Hubud drill. In the past videos, we talked about what the Hubud drill is and how it can help your martial arts development. We talked about the fundamental core of the Hubud drill that everything is based off of, and then we talked about how to switch from one side to the other. So if you haven't done all that stuff and gotten really good at that stuff, you go do that other stuff and get good at that. Because once we get into variations is when things actually get complicated, if it wasn't complicated already. Alright, so there's two basic variations on the Hubud drill that we do at the School of Self-Defense. There's a lot more than just these three variations, but this is what we work. So you have your standard variation, which is against the center line punch, which is just palm, fan, trap. All the other variations are going to share this basic movement with each other. It's the way you deal with the initial attack that's going to change. The first variation we talk about, we call it crazy man punch, okay? Which is basically somebody bringing their hand back and slapping. Now, this can be a slap, this can be a big haymaker, okay? This can be a hammer fist, this can be a knife stab, this can be a knife slash, okay? She has a knife in her hand, she slashes. Let's do it on the other side so they can see. She slashes. The exact same technique that we would do empty hand applies. Okay? So she throws the number one angle, and instead of me catching it with a parry, I'm going to catch it with a basic 360 block. Now this is a little bit more traditional way of blocking, and like I described in the last video, the reason why we're doing this is because it actually lends itself to some other techniques in Filipino martial arts. I know that disarm looks really, really scary, but you actually don't get cut on that one. It's pretty wild. Okay, so when that hand comes through, I'm going to pick it up just by taking my hands, pressing my palm forward. If we can, we want this to not be at a 90-degree angle, but slightly forward. That's going to give it better structure. From this point, I'm going to do the fan. So that's your block. So against straight punch, that's our block, a parry. Against crazy man stab or whatever, this is our block. From this point on, it's the same drill, except for the fan is going to move the hand a little bit. Okay? So, palm, or not palm, sorry. Block, there's our fan, and then we trap. Now, if my partner is feeding me that angle, it's probably because they want to work the angle too. So to be nice, I'm going to feed her the same thing. So block, fan, trap. Block, fan, trap. So you notice, just like with a standard variation, palm, fan, trap, the last two motions are the same. Only thing that's changing is how I defend myself because the angle has changed. And because I'm trying to feed my partner what they're asking me to feed, I'm going to fire a different shot. Now at any time, I can go back to the standard variation. And then I can feed a different variation. So, right now you have two. You have standard, which is a straight punch. And you have a crazy man trap. As far as switches are concerned, against the center line punch, we have that Hyun Sao motion. The Hyun Sao doesn't work in our favor here, because I'm taking my hand that's already on the inside that could maybe get this shot, and I'm moving it to the outside where they could possibly grab here, or if they got that Bruce Lee 1-inch punch, maybe they could do something there. Yeah. Okay, but what movement does work is the pak, trap, trap. So then I can feed her a different angle. So if she comes at me here, one, fan, trap, block, fan, trap, block, fan, trap. If I want to switch, trap, trap, and now she's over here, fan, trap, block, fan, trap, block, fan, trap. So that's your first variation, overhead. Our second variation is against an elbow. So when she delivers an elbow, I don't want to just catch an elbow like this and call that a day. Because if she's got a good elbow, what's going to happen is that's going to clear right through and still hit me. But this initial reference point is a very realistic response to an elbow. All right? The idea that I'm going to, let me do that slower. The idea that I'm going to magically sneak my hand underneath here, re-guide it, and then hit is not very realistic off of a natural response. That I'm over here, she throws an elbow, and I'm just going to ninja! All right? The truth is, when someone throws an elbow, the first thing you're going to do is you're probably going to, whoa, put your hand out. Now, this elbow can still come through. But since we train reference points, the rest of it will flow by itself. You won't have to ask your body to do it. It will go ahead and do it for you. So, off this elbow, this is my initial catch. But like I said, this elbow will collapse through. So I'm going to bring my other hand, the fan, through to guide the elbow away from me. At this point, I just trap to keep the elbow down. She blocks, fans, traps. Block, fan, trap. Block, fan, trap. So as you can see, even though this is tighter, it's the same as the other two. You block, fan, trap. Block, fan, trap. Block, fan, trap. Okay? So, we have three variations. The punching variation, block, fan, trap, punch. Then we have the crazy man chop. So she block, fan, trap, block, fan, trap, block, fan, trap. And then we have the elbow. Block, fan, trap, block, fan, trap, block, fan, trap, block, fan, trap. Just like the crazy man chop, where I could not Hubud south, so my switch was going to be pock, pock. Same thing with the elbow. I block, fan, trap, I step over, and then throw my elbow over here, and then she has to respond to that motion. So as far as the switches, off the punch, we have two basic switches. We have Hubud south, and then we have pock, pock. And then off our variations, we have overheads with a pock, pock switch. Then we have the elbows, who also have the pock, pock switch. At this point, you have a drill that has a lot going on. But if you've taken your time and actually perfected each one of the steps up to this point, you have already begun to see how this positively affects your flow as a martial artist. That no longer does someone throw a punch and it's this motion that you're very good at moving around people and having a nice flow. And you've also seen how it improves your reaction time because you no longer need to see what I'm doing. You can feel it. She throws that punch and I move around that punch and she can stick into it. So that's Hubud drill up to this point. Now that you have different variations and different switches, you put it all together and you try to trick each other. You try to play a game with each other where you're not always feeding the same thing, that I'm switching my angles, I'm switching sides, switching techniques. So I'm using various variations. I'm using a lot of different techniques, and my partner has to try to keep up without ever actually seeing what it is I'm doing. They just feel it. And that's the beauty of the Hubud drill, that it builds sensitivity. Also, whenever you're doing the Hubud drill, understand that it's not just one person feeding angles and the other person responding. That both of you are constantly feeding each other different angles, constantly doing switches, and both of you are always responding to each other. Once you have your Hubud drill in a good place, that's when you can start thinking about inserts, which we'll start talking about in the next video. So if you like this kind of information and you live in the Indianapolis area, please come and train with us. All the information to do that is in the description box down below. Also, if you don't live near us and you just like these videos, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, and please share us on Facebook. So in the next video, we'll be talking about how to do inserts in the Hubud drill. It's gonna be awesome.